I'm Rebecca King Ferraro.
And I'm Michael Sean Breeden, and you're listening to Conversations on Dance. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Mikey. How are ya?
Good. It's just us today, and we're doing our annual faves of 2023.
Yeah.
Best dance performances or dance related material we got to experience this year.
Yeah.
I always love this because it's fun I always go back through and like look on my phone and see what things I've seen this year. So it's always a fun little way to recall all the joy that dance has brought us outside of the podcast.
When you sent the list, I was like, oh yeah, this is good. Good. I had forgotten it, but you're right. It's fun to sit and look back and see what we've seen,
Yeah. Only thing I feel a little bit guilty about is I just, fair warning to our listeners, it is a little New York centric. Normally I feel like I get more of an opportunity to see things outside of my bubble, but this year it just didn't really happen. Even when I was able to, go work with other companies, I didn't get to see them do things that I didn't do. So I feel, as much as I love the places I work, I'm not going to be like, my staging of this ballet is my best of 2023. These dancers are fabulous and they deserve recognition, but I feel like it's a conflict of interest.
That's so good. Well, I feel like
we get into what we did see.
And we've talked about a lot of things that we wish we could have seen too. So there were a lot of things on the podcast too that I'm sure if we had seen them, we would have added it to our list, but it's just hard
Well, this is one New York centric thing that I'm probably going to miss. I think I'm going to miss it. Is that I'm not going to see, but India Bradley's Dewdrop has been all over the social media this week. And that's something that I know you and I both we've talked about that for ages. Something we want to see, like that we could dream casting.
I think we could just put it on the list and just assuming it was fantastic. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'll get lucky and get to see her. I am going to Nutcracker on Thursday, so I don't know. I know that Mira is doing Sugar Plum. Mira. Yeah.
That's okay.
Mira
add it to the list.
is doing Sugar Plum. Yeah, we could just preemptively add it to the list. There were actually a lot of things. I mean, I actually felt like I couldn't just... I mean, this is just a Mira Stan account, but there were even she does get a peripheral mention on one of the things that I have listed. But then I was like, ooh, well, actually two of the things. Okay, anyway, we'll get to it when we get to it. But Mira's Sugar is undoubtedly going to be very exciting. And
I want to just, that made me think of Nut Pod. We were talking yesterday, we were texting with our friend Kate Penner, friend of the pod, about the music for the grandpa in Nutcracker and just thinking about that. And then I was thinking about how they did it this year in Vail. And I just really do think, because we're just talking about how great the music is, how great the choreography is, do it every year in Vail, do it in the summer. Why not? If no one was like, oh no, Nutcracker right now, it was just so wonderful and enjoyable. And Miriam was so beautiful in it. That was fun too.
Also that, it's just a gorgeous pas that's Balanchine and Tchaikovsky, and doesn't necessarily that music to me doesn't have an association with the commercialization of Christmas.
It's just us.
That music isn't anywhere. It's just ballet. It's not like the Russian dance that's in TV commercials or the Sugar Plum solo
variation,
or any of that music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's really true. It's definitely. I wonder why. I guess it's just too slow, maybe, or the first part of it, maybe. I don't know, but that's true. It's really just not used at all. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
It really could be, if it weren't for feeling so associated with Nutcracker for dancers and Christmas, it could totally be a standalone pas because it's just beautiful.
Yeah, if we do Swan Lake or Sleeping Beauty in the summer, then why not? Yeah.
I love it.
We'll start we'll sign the petition.
Sign the petition to see it every year.
Pod.com.
Yes, that's good. Maybe one year we should do favorite things and have people vote. That'd be fun to kind of do
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, especially since we've already confessed that this isn't going to be as broad of a list as I would have liked. Maybe our listeners can respond in our social media posts and tell us what their favorite dance performances or dance media moments were of the year.
Yeah, we'll start up. That's great. We'll do a post and we'll have everybody comment, because that'd be so fun to hear what everyone's been seeing. There's so much great dance, obviously, everywhere, and we just can't all get to it all. That was one of the things in the pandemic that was I don't want to say fun, but it was like that, when everybody was doing video, it was nice to be able to
Yeah.
see so many. And I think a lot of that has stuck around, honestly. I feel like I'm seeing so much on social media of Nutcracker right now, like maybe more than normal. Like a lot of videos are happening, and it's interesting
Yeah.
to be seeing
I
that.
feel the same. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
people are really getting it out there.
it feels like a lot,
Should we
right? It's
start
nice.
our list?
Let's start our list.
What do you want to start with?
Well, and then we'll catch up afterwards because I do want to hear like what you've been up to and what you have coming up. Do we
Sure.
want to do
Yeah.
that after our list? Yeah, because then
Yeah.
if
We'll just
people want to
yeah.
turn it off and be like, we don't care what you guys are doing, they can just turn it off.
Yeah. They
All right.
just want to hear if you just want a best of, here it is.
There you go. So should we start at the not the bottom of our list, or do you just want to go like
Well,
in no particular order?
we can just go in no particular order.
No particular order. Yeah. What do you have? Tell me what you're
Okay.
thinking.
Well, one thing that we both really loved that we finally got to see at the Vail Dance Festival. I believe it had its premiere it's at a City Center season for Martha Graham Dance Company, but it's Hoffa Schechter's Cave, which is just so wild and free and like makes you want to get up and dance as most good dance does. But it's kind of just like being dropped into a rave, and that somehow still has a lot of form to it. But it's primarily, yes, I love the choreography, but it's like such a triumph of the Martha Graham Dance Company dancers. They're just who we are obsessed with, all of them, and they're so completely abandoned and free and wild and just magnetic. And we couldn't get enough of it. We saw an excerpt on the opening night, I think, and then they did the full work the following night, and it was just incredible.
To see it every night. I want to see it every night, always. What was interesting about it for me, because I think a lot of times and I'm sure you feel the same way. I know you do. We've talked about it. When you see a ballet, you're like, let's say like a ballet, you're watching a Balanchine ballet and you feel like towards the end, you're like, oh, that would be so fun to dance. Like I feel it in my insides. I don't know how to explain it. Like you almost get like chills, right? That you like put yourself out there in your head and you're like, that would feel so good to dance. And I don't think that maybe like an audience necessarily feels that way. But in something like this, you knew the audience all around us, dancers or no, were like, I want to move. Like people were standing up. Like I'm almost getting chills, like thinking about it. Like it instilled that feeling in everyone, which I think was so cool. And I remember I would feel that way a lot of times in Twyla Tharp's Upper Room too, which Miami City Ballet did so much when we were in the company. And they just did this past program one, so in the fall. But I would get that feeling too, and I think the audience would as well. And I just think that's such a triumph too in its own way to make people who aren't dancers feel what we feel,
Yeah. And I also feel like I'm doing a disservice to the work by just being like, it's a rave. I don't know how to describe it in a way that will make it sound because that could be really a very cheap tactic, like
sure.
Like in the sort of way that we're like a movie like Center Stage boils it down to like ballet, boring and stiff, and jazz, fun. It's like,
sure.
Ooh, we're at a rave. It's fun. I don't know how to explain it other than I just think it's something that needs to be seen and experienced.
Totally. And I think what it is too is that there's something organic about it in the dancing. While it's very structured, and this would be interesting to know. And we just had Lloyd Knight on. It would have been good to ask him. I'm just thinking of it now. Lloyd, get at us. But I wonder if there were sections that were
improv
that were improv. I wonder because sorry, my brain is like a mess. Because there's so many moments of structure, but then there's moments even just like when they're all standing on stage very quietly and just doing like an arm here and there with the music. Like, I don't know. It would be interesting. To kind of hear more about.
Well, there definitely was. I mean, I don't know if you remember Lorenzo Pagano's big solo. Yeah, that changed from night to night. I remember
that definitely.
So definitely, I think those solos are primarily improv.
And that was definitely like a like what would that be like at a club when everybody's in a circle and clapping for someone and someone pops in and dances and then it like pops out. Like that was the feel.
Almost like a dance off.
A dance off. Yeah. Oh my God. I loved
battle.
That's right. Because it was like a battle. Didn't one night he had like a stocking that he put over his face or something?
Oh my God. That was amazing.
But not the first night, right? Just the second night. So yeah, it's definitely.
So Lorenzo had just done this Graham work earlier in the night, Errand into the Maze. And it has like a sort of, what would you call that? Like a head.
Something like, yeah, it was definitely like a nod to
it's like
that.
a ski mask
Right.
basically, but like like a very thin material that he can see out of
Hmm.
course, but it's an important part of that costume. And then he brought that part of the costume back out for his improv section only, which was kind of hysterical, but also just so amazing and like a fun way to tie it into the prior
I loved
piece.
it.
Like um, but he didn't do that the night before.
Right. So that
It
must
was
have
just,
been, yeah, there must be this like
yeah.
do whatever. Anyways, I just think if you ever, because I'm sure they're going to take that on, they're already touring it, right? I'm sure
Mhm.
it's going to someday come to a city near you and go see it because
Yeah.
it's so fun. I would love to see it. Like, I feel like it also merits multiple viewings. Like, you'll see something new each time, I'm sure. And like we're saying too, it could vary from night to night in certain places. So super fun. We love the Martha Graham girlies. They're our
Yeah.
faves.
They're fabulous. So we have
Yeah.
two retirements on the list. And while,
Mm.
of course, the individual performances are something worth mentioning, but it's more about the entire careers of these people and what they represent. So first up, I have Russell Jansen, who
Mhm.
retired with Jules.
Mm.
And of course, the actual performance was incredible. Well, firstly, I was going to say that the whole performance, I was just so happy to see everyone dancing so beautifully. Indiana Woodward did an incredible interpretation of Violette, Verdi's solo in Emeralds. I mean, she looks like Violette. It's really
Mm.
wild. But then the core was just so vivid and alive. And then you had
Mm.
Mira in the Tall Girl of Rubies, who's just so leggy and mysterious and chic and wonderful. Um, and then the performance where like the thing that just gutted me was the way Sarah looked at Russell the whole
Mm.
performance. And it was just like you knew she was just
Sarah Mearns.
holding on to Sarah Mearns every second and just and then Russell just, deploying his um trademark elegance and humility and just being the consummate um partner that he is, just so wonderful. And I think that another beautiful thing about this moment was that he had written this New York Times article that week about um, what it meant to retire and, the loss of identity, the shift in identity. And Russell's so intelligent. And I feel like he was able to express things that you and I and other retirees have a hard time verbalizing sometimes. And it was, so it was just a wholly moving evening. And, Russell, thank you for your beautiful career. We love you.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
link to that article because as you were talking to, I was like, oh, we have to talk about the article. It was really beautiful. So we'll put that a link in here too. But and of course I didn't see it, but we were sending videos back and forth to each other. But God, there was this one clip that was online. Maybe we'll share that of Sarah looking at him. And this is the part you're talking about, I'm sure. And I mean, I watched it like
Hmm.
5 times and was like absolutely crying.
Hmm.
And it was just, I mean, I don't know them very well, but like you could just tell this like deep connection of dancing together for so many years. Again, it's one of those moments you like put yourself in it in a way, like it's
Hmm.
so bittersweet and sad and beautiful. And I'm sure it was so nice to be there for them.
Yeah, I'm really felt very lucky I got to experience that with them.
Yeah.
But one thing, the other retirement on our list is something we got to experience together, which is
Mm-hmm.
Trisha Albertson's final performance in Symphony in Three Movements. And
At
I
Miami
mean,
City Ballet.
there's just not enough, there aren't enough nice words to
Mm.
platitudes to go out to what Trisha meant for my City Ballet. I mean, of course, she's a fabulous dancer. I think I had to give a little speech at the retirement party, and I was listing off all the things she did. And like, I mean, it's just so amazing the diversity of her rep and what she did from the time she was like a baby at 17. I think Edward hired her right into the corps from Miami City Ballet, I believe, or from sorry,
Cool.
School of American Ballet,
Oh, right.
and
Mm-hmm.
then started doing crazy principal parts. I mean, this was the fun game I used to play with her and the Delgados, like hardest triple bill ever. um and I mean, I know that she said that I don't know if this was her debut, but there was a point where she had to do emeralds, pas de trois into rubies, into diamonds core like regularly. It's just so silly.
That's so
Um,
silly.
but yeah, she was just like from such a young age was doing so many things and like really helping hold up the company.
Mhm.
Um, and then she just blossomed into this like incredible artist that every younger person wanted to model themselves after. She also was there through like every era of Miami City Ballet. So then you have someone who is carrying the history in their body, like she was there so she joined, I guess Miami City Ballet was less than 10 years old. So she's kind of
That's about right.
seeing the old Miami City Ballet, like
In the
they were
old
still on
studios,
the road, old
right?
studios. They're still sort of a scrappy
Startup a
organization. And
little bit. Yeah.
yeah. And then she's there as the company becomes more established under Edward and starts to have these big tours that are very acclaimed and, hits the 50 dancer mark, which is around where it's been, for a decade or so.
Mhm.
And then, of course, under Lourdes as well. So she's really held that company together for so long. And so I just felt like watching her in that final performance, you saw like everything she'd ever done
Mm.
in a single ballet.
I love Trishy so much. It was just so amazing too because I mean, I think that was the spirit of Miami City Ballet for sure. It was like there were principals, but they were still your friends. Like Trisha was always our friend, even though she was like this, maybe in other places could be like this big principal dancer who could have like a big head or something, but she's just like the most down to earth, the most lovely person and would help you and,
Right. Yeah,
and,
because just to,
sorry.
yeah, I was going to say just to clarify, like we were both apprentices when Trisha was already a principal,
Yes,
and so she
exactly. She was a
always,
principal our whole
yeah,
career. Right. Totally.
mhm,
But like we would just like I used to stand by her at the bar in the theater and we would just have so much fun. I have so many memories of that. And I remember when we were doing Ballo della Regina, that was like a kind of big program for me. I had like a little solo
mhm.
when she was doing the principal role. And I remember being at the rosin box with her and her just being like so nervous. And she was just like, I'm so scared. And I was like, how are you scared? Like you're Trisha. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it was like there was something
Mhm.
really beautiful in that moment of just sitting there together, being really scared. I don't know. And then just
Mhm.
like still doing
Yeah.
it. And I don't know. It was like it felt special,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. And I mean, of course, well, I was like, I got to be her ballet husband one year. We partnered in every program at
Yeah.
least like once or twice, and
Hmm.
I loved dancing with her. But I also feel like there was something special for the women. Like when you had Trisha leading you, I felt like you guys always, I don't know, it's something you look forward to. It's just it just meant a little bit, not to drag other people, but it meant a
No.
little bit more. Like having Trisha at the front just felt special for you guys, and I know that you always like fed off of her
Hmm.
light and
Hmm.
beauty, and that there was always something that the women looked forward to.
I remember in the show that I got thrown into Polyphonia with the first cast.
Hmm.
I had never done it with them before. And it was just like, at intermission, it was like, you have to do it. And I was like, oh my God. And so I, and so I'm like freaking out. And so there's a point where I don't know, it was like the third movement or something. Do you remember the moment where, because my couple and the Trisha couple wouldn't dance together very much, but there's one moment where the women flip upside down. The men are
Yeah.
facing the wings. The women flip upside down
Yes.
into a split, and you look across the stage and you see each other. And so normally I would see whoever I danced with, and I flipped upside down and saw Trisha, and I was like, oh my God, I was seen with Trisha by myself. I could cry
Oh
thinking about
wow.
it. Like she just
Yeah.
gave me this beautiful
That,
smile. Like, oh, it's nice to see you. And I was like, I cannot believe this moment's happening to me right now. It
that
felt
is
so
pretty
special.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, because I mean, that was a really, I don't know. I feel like we've never told that story on the pod. That was pretty chaotic. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because it's on the program with Ballo. So we were talking about Ballo
It's
already.
that same program.
Ballo opened, and then the lead of Ballo, who was the first cast of your part in Polyphonia, the waltz in Polyphonia,
Hmm.
she was like sick during
Hmm.
Ballo. So she finished Ballo, but then can't do Polyphonia. And so then when did you find out that you had to do Polyphonia? How you bowed for Ballo and then you went to the dressing room because you were going to wait
And took my
to
hair
do
out.
Serenade.
because I was gonna have to change it for Serenon. So my hair was out.
French twist.
Roma went in and was like, Becca, we're gonna have to do this. And I was like, what? And then I was like, where's Giovanni? Because that for sure you could not do with someone else's partner like in 2 seconds. There was no
Right.
way. And so Giovanni was who's now at City Ballet and was my partner. And she's like, he's in the audience. He's getting dressed. I was like, what? We were just like freaking out. I was like doing my hair. And then so that program was Ballo. So I did the core first cast and then the core of Serenade second cast in that same program. Or sorry, in first cast. And then in second cast, I did Ballo solo. I did Polyphonia Waltz Girl. And then I did Russian Girls and Serenade. So it was like, that was my hardest program ever, which I know I'm not like other people have had harder programs, but it was exhausting. So then that weekend, because it was Broward weekend, I did 3 Polyphonia. It was like, I remember being so exhausted, but it was so fun. Highlight of my life, honestly.
Yeah, we love it. We love
But yeah, that Trisha moment was super cool and special. And we love our Trishy.
Yeah.
And so now she's working with Miami City Ballet, passing it on as a
rehearsal director.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. She's the rehearsal director now. And that's so lucky for all those dancers. I already know. I can already feel like word on the street is that like the energy is already great. And she like the things that she's working on, like some things that, I've just been in the rep for a long time, but then Trisha's bringing some like a special new energy to it. And yeah, so I'm sure that, yeah, I'm jealous. I wish I had Trisha coach me when I was dancing.
Same.
Jealous.
How fun. That's so great for them. I love it.
Okay, so this next person on the list is someone that I feel like I maybe mentioned to you via text or something, but I saw this performance of The Dream at ABT. It was on a bill with Ballet Imperial. And
can we talk about Ballet Imperial? You still haven't told me about that, but next after this, okay? Because I wanted to hear about that.
Yeah, so this guy Jake Roxander was doing Puck in Ashton's Dream, and I was trying to like catalog impressive debuts that I've seen, and it is just very high up there. It was it was in terms of virtuosity probably the most impressive thing I've ever seen in a first impression. Like or someone new on the scene, it's like he's in the court of ballet. It's not like I saw like, I don't know, the first time I saw Angel Correa and when he's like a principal that has been there for 15 years and it's just the last time I've seen him. But the first time I've seen him. This is this is Suzanne Farrell just been born type stuff I'm talking, like it was just insane because it's the technical and virtuosic achievement is off the frickin' charts. Like every time, I mean, his jump is like he has springs in his tendons, and but every single time he's gonna do 6, 7 very clean pirouettes and with the easiest finish. But like that's to say nothing of his charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. No,
I knew it.
That's to say nothing of his. That's to say nothing of his charisma and his musical choices. Like it's never greedy, it's never tacky. It's just so exciting. He always finishes. It's like if he had to do pirouettes into a double tour, it's like you think he's going to be late, and then it's like pitch perfect. He just speeds up the tour at the end to make sure that he. It's like I just was really blown away. And then I was going through. I was like my favorite debuts. But they're all women. So he's the first kind of male presenting artist that I've seen that I've had this feeling about where like the very first time, I love many male dancers, but like otherwise my list is just, it's Mearns in Swan Lake, Mira in Scotch Symphony at SAV. And the first time I saw Osipova when she did Giselle at the Met, when it was like she had come from Russia. I mean, she was a famous dancer still, but I just like those are the things that stick out to me where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm witnessing the birth of a star. And that's this guy, Jake Roxander. So
do we have him on the list for guests? We should put him on our list.
We need. Apparently he was also similarly fantastic in Etudes the night prior.
That was around the same time, right? The same program.
Yeah. I was on the same fall season at ABT. also crazy. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know. Was it Point Magazine? Maybe posted this that like, so he and his brother are both dancers. His brother's in Pennsylvania Ballet, or sorry, Philadelphia Ballet. And his father was also a dancer. Not
Wow.
100% sure where, but they
Uh-huh.
have all worn the same Puck costume. They all have
Stop
done Puck
it.
and Ashton's Dream, and they wore the same costume. Both of these guys, they're wearing their dad's costume. How sweet is that?
That's so cool. I didn't
Yeah, I
see
mean
that. I have to look for that.
the articles write themselves, you know.
That's
Very
the
nice.
sweetest
So
thing. I love that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
special.
So I would love to get him on. Maybe get the whole fam on.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it. Okay, making a note.
yeah.
But I want to hear too. I know we like texted about Bally Imperial, but we haven't really gotten a chance to like talk about it on the pod because one of our favorite ballets ever, wouldn't you say? Certainly one of my
Definitely.
favorites to dance for sure. I remember when we did Ballet Imperial in the program, you know, when we used to perform a lot, thank God we were so lucky, but there would be times where it'd be like towards the end of a program like, oof, I'm a little sick of this ballet. And I remember every time we did
Mhm.
Ballet Imperial, I was like, I could never be sick of dancing this ballet. It's just so
Yeah,
good.
it's so good.
And so I was loving the ABT post and especially like our, you know, our friends Isabella Boylston and James Whiteside talking about like
Mhm.
how hard it was. It was
Yeah.
interesting to see because of course like we didn't dance a principal role in a 3-act ballet. We don't know what that feels like. And so I loved them being like, "Oh my god, this is like as hard as a 3-act ballet." It was so interesting to see. And
Yeah.
so I just want to hear how it was and because they had different costumes of course than what we
Mhm.
wore.
I'm pro tutu.
Mhm.
I like the tutus, I mean, but I also love the longer skirts. I
Mhm.
think it's fun to see both. I enjoy seeing both. Um, I wasn't in love with the Tempe. I won't lie. I won't lie. Well, the other thing is that I just felt like, no, I felt like it was a minor disservice to the dancers because, of course, Isabella can really keep up.
Mhm.
So I think it just would have been thrilling to watch her. James's parts, I think, were a little bit better
Yeah,
in
a
terms
little
of
faster.
tempo. But
Mhm.
there were times where I'm just like, oh, I want to see Isabella like eat this up. I want to
Yeah.
see her just like go for broke and and like match the tempo. But
Mhm.
yeah. So maybe next time.
That's not something, of course, the dancers have control over either, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can
No,
vary.
it was nothing about the dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the tutus, and I just next time let's pick it up a little bit.
I bet
Also,
the tutus
it's
make it like almost a different ballet, right? Like I can even just seeing like kind of the
yeah,
videos of it, it makes it more like imperial. Look
good.
you on the
Well,
nose.
you know what's funny? It's like, when you watch Scotch Symphony and you're like, okay, Sylphide. Like I
Hmm.
watch Ballet Imperial and I'm like, oh, it's a Sleeping Beauty. We're
Right.
watching Balanchine do Sleeping Beauty. Yeah.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And the tutus really probably make it feel more so than the
Yeah.
skirts, you know. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Just different.
But it was fun experiment. Yeah.
That's fun.
What do we have next on the
What do you
list? Okay. Well,
have?
we have already talked. I think I've already talked about this plenty. I mean, we interviewed Mira Nadon, the star of the show of Copeland Dance episodes prior to its premiere. But
Mhm.
I'm sure we talked about it after. But Copeland I was totally blown away. I love the first section, Rodeo, which premiered by itself. I think around 2015, and this is a ballet I've gotten to
Sounds right.
stage. So it was
Mhm.
hard to kind of imagine what bringing the other Copeland ballet scores into the mix would have looked like, or if it was going to
Mhm.
work. And then he turns it into this like hugely cinematic, to me, masterpiece. I couldn't believe like the whole journey it took us on, and um, I don't know, the way that like, you have these twin. They're like there's relationships that are going in opposite directions.
Mhm.
One thing like Rodeo by itself is just like a very beautiful, happy little love story. Like people meet cute, and then we go off
Mhm.
stage happy. And then
Mhm.
in Copeland, well, I don't know. Is this spoilery? No. Well, let's just say we have one. I think by the time you see the ballet, you'll either have forgotten, or I don't think it'll
I think Mira told
affect
us
it.
that there
But
was a arc. Yeah.
yeah. So that couple ends up, breaking down and separating. And then while you witness another couple coming together, like these two more independent people finding unity in their partnership, and then the two people that were originally in this pre-established relationship breaking away from one another. And it's just very, really heartbreaking and beautiful. But then there are so many other great sections that aren't about that sort of narrative arc. You know, there's like a really wild section where Mira's just like throwing her legs around, and then she's got these four other tall ladies, it's the tallest women in the company, and they're all just like devouring space, and it's really thrilling. So I love the ballet. I went to see it 3 times, and I got better every single time. I just felt like, and this is interesting info for the pod. Justin, when I mentioned, I felt like it was like an epic film, and I couldn't exactly place what, but I was like, I mean, it's like John Ford or Paul Thomas Anderson or Francis Ford Coppola, even though it's not like any of them, but it's just like that scale where it's like, I feel like it's so zoomed, like the director is so zoomed out to plan everything so meticulously to make it work over the course of this really long evening. And he was like, well, that's what I did. This was after West Side Story. So I looked at it like a movie, and I remembered everything that Spielberg had taught me and what I took from the set. I was like, oh, that is so
how cool.
Clear. Yeah. It makes so much sense.
It comes across.
Yeah. Copeland Dance Episodes is coming back in February. Great. So I recommend everybody see it. Yes. Well, Russell is retired now. Russell was very beautiful in the second group with Miriam Miller. So we'll get a new, one of the protagonists will be someone new. So something else exciting to see.
Justin maybe is doing a whole bunch of other stuff too that seems cool right now. He's doing some musical theater stuff. It just seeing a lot of cool stuff
Sufjan
going on.
musical.
I know.
Yeah, he's a busy, busy bee.
Hear about it.
Yeah, for sure. And Buena Vista Social Club, which is happening right now. Yeah, we got to. I mean, I have to personally catch up with it too. We're just so busy. I know. We just text like little things here and there. Like, okay, so this might be a decent time to mention I'm staging rodeo. This is happening super last minute in Dresden, which is a fabulous company in Germany. And but we've been having to talk about some of. Yes, I'm flying on January 1st to start work on the 2nd. But we've had to discuss changes that happened during Copeland Dance Episodes and what we want to keep or what we don't. And I asked him, because I've just mentioned how this relationship changes. Like in Copeland Dance Episodes, when we meet the Mira and the Russell, Justin changed it because for the arc of that ballet, it makes sense that you're dropped in with them already clearly having known one another. Like they are, I don't know at what point in the relationship, but they're, let's say years in, they're established. It's not, it changes the whole color of the ballet.
I bet.
Like it's not meet cute anymore. And I was wondering, I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work as well in like a standalone. I love both. I mean, I think it's so essential for Copeland for it to be that way, but I also really love in rodeo. But it's just so fascinating. There's a section we call the conversation, where it's very slow in the Padada and they're just kind of responding to one another, not a lot of movement. But that conversation when you don't know each other and when you do becomes entirely different. And so I just love watching that and watching the dancers explore that. So we had to kind of figure out what we wanted to do for the ballet. So there's some changes will make it in to the standalone rodeo, and some things are going to be the same. So that's been
what I'm remembering right now when we talked to Mira about this ballet. We were saying we wonder what's going to happen when rodeo is a standalone ballet. So will this be like the first time it's being staged since Copeland was created?
Yeah.
So this will be like, this is the first time he's trying to decide like what changes will make it and which ones won't.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So to prepare, now you've set the ballet before on Miami City Ballet. Is that the only, or did you do it one other time too?
I did selections of it at 2 universities. So
that's right. Okay. You've done so much now. It's hard to keep up, frankly.
Wow. Thanks, Becky.
But I'm wondering how your preparation, because we've talked about this before, you have films that you go back to, that you watch. in order to prepare for it? I know that's what you're doing right now. How are you adding in the view? Are you watching Copeland videos too to kind of like?
I am. Yeah, I am. Because there are meaningful changes that I have to learn. It's not too much, but I like all of them. I'm like, oh, it's always fun when the choreographer, when the artist does something where like, at first you want to be like, no, I'm partial to this. I liked it. That was what I did. Or like,
right.
That's the way I staged it. I liked it this way. And then you're like, you see what they've done and you're like, okay, no, actually this is better. That's why you made a change. That's why you're the creative and I'm not.
That's cool. We'll have to catch up too during the process and find out, because I'm curious too, like if you try a change, like you're talking about in the conversation section, for example, and then when you're watching it, like if you'll have a conversation with Justin where you're like, it's not working, or like whatever, or like, is he going to see it? Is he coming? Is he going to be able to come and see?
I doubt he will, just because he's
a
very busy man, and it's in the middle of New York City Ballet's spring season that it premieres. So
yeah. But you'll still be in touch with him, and you guys still talk about it and stuff.
Yeah, it's on a very exciting program too. It's like a very super American program. It's Serenade, Rodeo, and In the Upper Room.
Oh, how fun! Who's setting Serenade in Upper Room? Do you know?
I don't know yet. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be happening at the same time? I wonder how their schedule works.
It's not. I mean, while I'm staging it, it's not happening. And then I don't even know if I'm going back, because I have an opposing staging also in Europe that we will discuss at a later time.
I can't wait to talk about it. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about it.
Yeah. But I really hope I am off the days that it premieres in Dresden. So hopefully I can just jet over and see it, because I would love to see it.
That's fun. Okay, so this is just like you're going just to set it, and then like the performances aren't right after. I was wondering about that too.
No,
it's so interesting how all your stagings are different.
Everyone's different.
But generally it does seem like you leave and come back, or the performances are at another time, right? Most of the time.
That seems to kind of be typically how it's going lately. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about do we have one more thing? Do we have a couple more things?
Yeah, we have like a couple more things.
What else do we have?
There's been a lot of good dance writing, and I thought that was worth shouting out.
Yeah.
Marina Hars's book on Alexei Romansky was great. It was such a fabulous insight to this artist who's just dominated the conversation on 21st century classical ballet choreography.
Can I add something in there that the audiobook is now available too? Ooh, in case people are into that. And I think the same for Jennifer Homan's book, which I'm assuming is going to be the next thing you're going to talk about. But I've started listening to audiobooks recently. And so I just wanted to say, I know a lot of people enjoy that. So that's in existence out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jennifer's book came out not this year, so I wasn't going to say it, but we're always going to say it.
We talked about it a lot this year.
I mean, yeah. Well, we just had that. That was one of our highlights. I think that was one of our favorite conversations. It was the live podcast we did with her in Vail. We love her, and just gives you like the ballet, the good tingles. It makes you remember why you love ballet, and yeah. So that was fabulous. So yes, definitely if her audiobook is out as well, check that out. And also I wanted to shout out Peter Bohl's book, Illusions of Camelot, because I just am really into this new style of dance book, which is it's by a dancer, and we talk about dance kind of a little bit here and there, but it's just these personal moments, like the final chapters of the book with Peter's book are just so deeply personal and wounded and vulnerable and beautiful. And it made me think a little bit of when in James Whiteside's book, that when he talks about the death of his mother, and it's just like these kind of really unexpected moments where you're just like, I thought I was reading a ballet book, and now you're just making me feel about life, and
right.
Just very universal things that anyone anywhere could feel. So Peter Bohl's book, definitely another one.
It was great to talk to him about that too. I really enjoyed. We talked a lot about dance books this year, I feel like, and I really enjoyed
I mean,
that.
just last week we had Miriam Landis on, and again, another like I like that all these books kind of are, well, I mean, they are about different subjects, and
Hmm.
I think they respond to or speak to rather different people or definitely different sides in a single person. Yeah, so check out Miriam's books as well.
Yeah. And I
And
just
I
think
think
too,
that,
like there's so many, like we can identify as dancers with so many moments in these books. But then I think like exactly like you're saying, anyone who's reading them, their personal bits that are, universal. And so I think that that
yeah.
is so touching too, and what
Mhm.
makes them really great books.
Mhm. For the final best of, it's a little silly, but it's just like, it's definitely best of. It's just Kate Herland's Fuetes. That's all. That's the tweet.
That's
Kate
the
Herland's
tweet
Fuetes. I mean,
in
they are just
Vale.
so freaking crazy. I mean, I'm sure that was the same way at ABT too. Like she did
Sure.
Petrie there and other, or
Oh,
I think
sorry.
she, I
When
mean,
we
did they do
saw
Swan
them,
Lake?
right?
When we saw them, it's our 2023. So I'm sure others. Well, Kate was been. I'm sure she'd been doing 32 foot days across the country, ABTB touring. So hopefully this is
Oh,
something. You know, yeah, that more people have seen because it's just wild.
yeah.
I've just never seen someone. I don't think I've seen someone do better fuetes.
Yeah.
Like
I
that
love it.
left arm comes in so hard. She's just so on. She's like the whip of the neck and the strength of the supporting side. And
There's a neck freedom.
it's,
It reminds me of
yeah,
Jeanette Delgado in the way of the neck freedom. And I'm like, is that the trick?
yeah,
Is that what I'm missing? We're popping our
yeah,
necks as we're talking about it? Because why
yeah.
don't ours go like that?
That's so funny because I was literally just thinking about how stiff my head is. Like, I would never be able to spot anymore. Like, but
No.
Jeanette, they just have like those owl heads, like they're like,
It's an owl. It's owl. It's giving owl.
yeah, yeah, it's
Oh,
wild.
can I add one more thing that I was just thinking of when I was thinking of Vale was and Damien Wetzel did this when we were at performing in Vale because we did Serenade there. And I remember him having the audience stand up and he taught like the
Hmm.
first section, Port de Bras. And so this year they did a night with and then this year they did a night with Jennifer Homans when they were talking about Balanchine in honor of her book, Mr. B. And he taught everybody Serenade and we stood up, we were in the audience. I was sitting next to Miriam. And as we were doing it with the music, I started crying. And I remember afterwards, she was like, "Are you crying?" And I was like, "You'll understand one day." Like it felt like doing it again. It was really
Yeah.
nice. It was a nice
Oh,
moment.
that was a nice moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Thanks
then
for
they
that,
had they
Damien.
played the music too, whenever, so it like really felt like we were all doing it with the dancers on stage. It was very fun. So that was a highlight too.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, bye to 2023.
Bye.
Um,
Here's
anything
to
else you want to
2024.
say to our listeners? Yeah. Cheers to
I want to I want to hear
2024.
really quickly before we finish about what you've been up to in San Diego because I haven't gotten to really touch down with you on that so much and I'd like to hear about it.
Right. Well, I've been working with Golden State Ballet, so it's a relatively new company. It's only a few years old. And the artistic director is Raul Salamanca, who I danced with in Boston Ballet, and his wife, Cindy Wong, who danced with us in Miami City Ballet.
Mhm.
What's her official title? Maybe it's artistic associate or something of that nature. Cindy is doer of all the things. Well, what I love about this company, aside from the fact that I think the dancers are fabulous, it just has this like energy that reminds me. We got a little bit of a taste of it at Miami City Ballet. Of course, Miami City Ballet when we joined was probably closer to 20 years old, and this company is like 3 years old.
Mhm.
But that sort of like everyone has to be in it at all moments in order to get it off the ground. There's no part of it that feels kind of like business like or perfunctory and just like, well, here we are. It's like
Mhm.
all the things. I don't know. There's an energy and an excitement, and the people that are there, they hired really good dancers, who I think are just so excited to be embarking on their professional careers. They did a lot of different casts, like 4 different casts, I think, for 10 shows.
At
So
Nutcracker. You were there at
getting all the
Nutcracker.
people out. Yeah. getting there. I was there for Nutcracker. Again, for me, this was really fun because um, it was the first time I've worked, like been associated with a professional Nutcracker since we retired.
Hmm.
So getting to be there for the whole experience, I worked with the kids, I worked with all the adults, I worked with, yeah, everyone from like, they have like baby mice and to
Oh,
Sugar
cute.
Plum and the grandpa.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just was, I love, we love the Nutcracker. So it's just so fun to be around for a full run of it like that.
Yeah.
They had
How
a
many shows did
beautiful
they have? Did you just
orchestra.
say that? I maybe
It
missed
was
it.
it's 10 this year, yeah.
Wow, that's
But
a
I think
lot
they're expand yeah, for a new, well, it's
for a
also a
new
brand new
company.
production.
It's a
Yeah,
lot.
so Raul choreographed, and so it's like, just it was fun because it was a lot of like, okay, what's working? What does this? And Cindy and I would be like, well, I don't think that this like I didn't get that is what's happening right now, or my eye was drawn over here, and then Raul would like tinker with
Mm.
it, and it was a really um involved, fun thing to do. So
And that's
I
cool
loved
because
working with them on an
normally when you're setting a ballet, it's very much like, here's what it is. And
yes.
I'm telling you, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So this was, yeah, it's like a different kind of investment. And I taught every day.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, it was just already so cool to see the way that the company has grown from when I was there in April doing increases to now the company's already much larger. The dancers that I worked with in April are already like somehow leaps and bounds better than they just were.
Wow.
Like it's very exciting to be a part of it. Just, you want to feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself. And I feel like that's what that
Oh,
company gives everyone right now. So I was very sad to
oh,
leave. Sad.
oh. That's so great to hear. I'm so happy. That's so great. Yeah, all the things I've seen online, like the videos and stuff, seeing them and you being with Chantal is so cool. I went to
Yes.
school with her when we were babies. And that's
Hmm.
so cool to see her
Yeah.
dancing. She's so beautiful.
I mean, she is killing it. Yeah, I cried when she did Dewdrop. It was,
Oh.
it's just like she's had a different career path. She didn't join a major company right out of school. Um, so this is like 20, almost 20 years after, well, 20 years after we went to school together and a little bit less than when she graduated. And here she is like doing this huge lead so beautifully. So, just like at the peak of her powers so much later than
Mm-hmm.
most people do
Mm-hmm.
get to experience. So, but
Right.
that's like so beautiful too, to be like, here you are at this age and you're living the best part of it. You're not
Mm-hmm.
like you and me. You're not
Exactly.
like you and me sitting out in the
Right.
audience being like, oh, that was so beautiful. I'm so
Right.
glad I had it, but it's over.
Yeah.
So in a way, like, especially when Chantel's performing, I just feel like,
Mm.
she draws you up there and makes you feel like you're still doing it.
I realized
It's
we
very
didn't say her last
beautiful.
name, Chantal Pianetta. But she also is a swing dancer and like,
Yeah.
but like really good and is like winning awards, right? Like it's so cool to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
She
She's
she's
so
amazing.
cool.
So cool. We should have her on the pod too.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Hmm.
Oh, well, I'm glad that was
Yeah.
fun. That's so nice to be a part of Nutcracker. I feel like we're, through Instagram, I can be a part of it too.
Yeah.
Watching everybody do Nutcracker.
Yeah. Hmm.
I guess that's
Yeah.
wrapping up
I
for
mean,
most people now.
yeah, they probably have like most people make it to Christmas Eve and then
Yeah.
um
Some after,
curtains.
right? And
Yeah.
then
Well, New York
curtains.
City Ballet goes after. Oof. Yeah.
For the
Couldn't
dancers
be me.
who
I
are
mean, we
still
did do
going,
that.
you can do it. We used to do that.
You
We
can
used
do it. Yeah, I know.
to do in between.
We didn't used to do it, but then like there was a
Medium
switch
used
midway
to.
through that was disgusting.
Yeah, I really didn't. I liked being done. Remember when we used to be done on Christmas Eve and then we like had a
Christmas
break?
Eve.
It
It
was
was so
so
nice.
like so few companies did that. It was really amazing
Yeah. I
to
don't know
do
if
a
this is
Christmas.
unpopular opinion or not, but we would miss Thanksgiving, but then get Christmas. Like we'd be in Naples, Florida for Thanksgiving, which
Hmm.
I mean, I really preferred that. Like, who cares
Yes.
about Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
Get me out
totally.
of
And
there
then
by Christmas.
right. Yeah, it was really a drained
Yeah.
schedule, honestly. It was really nice. And then when they switched it, that was sad. And then they
Garbage.
still do that. I think that's when they're doing, I think that's when they're coming to West Palm. And I was thinking about, I was like, oh, should I go? And then I'm just like, I don't really want to go see Nutcracker after
After
Christmas,
Christmas. Sorry about it. Yeah.
you know? Sorry.
Well, maybe a cast can entice
We'll see.
you.
We'll see.
You know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what everyone's doing. That's true. Well, gosh, another year of COD. We did it. How many years
Oh wow,
now?
we keep doing years.
We keep going years. But we have some exciting stuff scheduled. We've already recorded our first couple episodes for the new year that will be coming out. And we were just talking to, we're going to do some more episodes, just us, because it's nice to touch down together and
Yeah. Yeah.
people like it. We get confused because we don't believe that people would like it because we're like, who wants to listen to us? But we do hear
Actually,
that
yeah.
people like it.
Yeah, through feedback and
Numbers.
frankly, through the numbers, they don't lie. So we will be trying to give the people a little bit more of what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's always fun for us. I don't care. I love sitting and having an excuse to talk to you.
yeah, same. I know it's true. So we'll be doing that. And I don't know if we have, I mean, we'll just, we're going to keep plugging along as we do here. And we've really grew this year, which is so special. We have a lot of new listeners. So those of you who are new, we love you. And all those of you who are been here for a long time, gosh, we love you too.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for another year, Becky. And I'll see you in 2024.
Okay. All right. Bye, Mikey. Bye, everyone. Conversations on Dance is part of the Acast Creator Network. For more information, visit conversationsondancepod.com.